The IDF has said the Red Cross has received 13 remaining life hostages. What more do we know?
That really marks the end of basically Hamas having custody of any Israeli living hostages. That phase of this war, the phase of this battle that began on October 7th, more than 2 years ago, is now, as of this moment, officially over. What will happen now is those last 13 remaining hostages will be transferred to IDF custody within the Gaza Strip. They will then be taken out of the Gaza Strip into Israeli territory, where they will receive medical attention and then ultimately be reunited with their family. That leaves the remains of a great number of many more hostages that will still remain within the Gaza Strip. There has been a timeline for that has been established that will be much, much longer. The reality of the situation is they don't know where all of these remains are. But this really marks not just the end and the return of this really sort of dark chapter for the Israelis, but this also marks the end of Hamas in a certain way giving up one of the sort of last bargaining chips that they had within this conflict. And this really opens the conversation for the sort of next phases of what we're going to see next out of this conflict. And again, we've had this conversation throughout the morning, and I think there's a very simple question which illuminates a very complicated answer, which is this war over? In the mind of President Donald Trump, the answer is yes. It is unequivocal. The war is over. Now we must move towards peace. Benjamin Netanyahu, if you ask him, it's not necessarily the same story. Much of the commentary within Israel is very much the same. You talk to a number of people. For them, this is, a ceasefire, a significant ceasefire that could potentially lead to something, but maybe nothing more than a ceasefire. And that will ultimately come down to the role of Hamas, what Hamas is going to be willing to do in the coming weeks and months if they're willing to disarm, put their arms down. There's been some of the provisions within this 20-point plan that any Hamas operative that really wants to disarm, they will be given amnesty, they'll be given safe passage, and all of those sorts of things. But these are the major questions that before we get into any kind of security apparatus within Gaza, any kind of technocratic government structure, any kind of ultimate long-term pathway to statehood will have to be answered, and those will have to be answered by the operatives in Hamas, which we understand have reasserted their control within Gaza over the last couple of days, and really have also been punishing retribution on many Palestinians who are said to have been working and collaborating with the IDF. But right now, we're just sort of moments away here in the Knesset, waiting really for Donald Trump to sort of mark this moment and awaiting for those final hostages, that the 13 of them, to be transferred from the Red Cross to the IDF and ultimately repatriated to Israel.